see Lingenfelder and such are doing Camaros and they're converting them to Firebirds. The problem is at General Motors, for us to actually, let's assume Pontiac was still here, to put a new front and rear cap on, a new interior with sew lines, new wheels, and keeping the same sheet metal, we're looking at a $100 million investment. Now let me ask you something. How many more cars are we going to sell because of it? If this was 1970, absolutely. It killed me to see Pontiac go away. The reality is, if I told you how much money we were losing on Pontiac, you'd have to say to us, why in the world did you keep it? And Oldsmobile was even worse. You know, if you go back to 1970, and I can't speak for Canada because of course I'm from the US, but back in 1970, the big three was Chevy, Ford, and Plymouth. We don't even call the big three anymore, they call them the Detroit three. Because what's true is the automotive market has become a worldwide marketplace. I'm not allowed to say this, it is not a free market. You know how many cars we're allowed to export to Korea every year, GM? 0. Because they have a closed market. Most people don't realize that. So I won't go deeper. You get me wound up, you won't get me to shut up.
Question, one more story. The pony car emblem from the 3rd and 4th gen, or 2nd, sorry. Could we see it on a 6th gen Camaro? You know, the 3 bars.
Oh, the Camaro emblem? You know, that's GM design. We weigh in on it. You know, for instance, you know, we want the SS in the grill of the Camaro. They're saying no, it'll be the gold bow tie. That's their bailiwick. The thing that you find out is to be a competitive company, you've got to let people do their jobs. I don't always agree with it. What's true is if you work on the Impala team or the Malibu team, you have discussions. When you work with the Camaro and Corvette, you have fist fights and arguments and screaming matches, and people throw things and bang the table. And the reason is we all love each other. It's just very passionate. And if you don't have the passion, you're not going to get a great product. You know, and I credit Mr. Lutz with all of that, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, the man's a genius. So, unfortunately, he is retired, but I watched him release the true believers in General Motors, and I think that's why you have cars like the CTSV, the fastest production sedan in the world. How cool is that? As a GM employee, I love it. What?
He helped save the company.
He helped save the company, amen. So, I have to be careful here. I guess we did announce that we were going to build something called the Chevy SS, but that's all I can say about it. But after all, it does have my initials on it. So, 2 more questions. Anybody else? Yeah.
Talk about fuel efficiency and the validity of the rear-wheel drive platform. Push comes to shove between Camaro and Corvette. Who's going to survive?
Who's going to survive between Camaro and Corvette? I don't think it's a case of that. Because they're 2 different cars. I remind people nightly on the websites, you know, well, the Mustang this, the Mustang that versus the Camaro. You guys, we have 2 mouths to feed. So if they want to get cute, I'll be more than happy to take the Z R1 out and make them scream like little schoolgirls. The point is it costs a lot of money to do that, but it's not a case of eliminating one of them. The Corvette people are very passionate about their cars, but I'll tell you something else. They aren't real product loyal to General Motors per se. They're very loyal to the Corvette. Back when we were trying to get this car brought back, I was involved with a study in the United States, and we found out that 82% of all Camaro Firebird people had another Chevrolet in the garage, and 92% of them had another GM car in the garage. The next closest car on the list was at something like 36%. What's really true, you guys lead General Motors, and for that, Mike and I are very, very grateful. So I don't think it's a case of dropping either one of them. I can also tell you this. We one time were working on a car called the GMX 80. And thank God somebody put a bullet in its head, because it was a plastic-bodied, front-wheel drive F-car. And our chief engineer, John Heimercy, at the time said, I think the ugliest thing I can think of in the world is smoke coming from the front tires of a Camaro. And I agree with you. One more question, and then I'll get down. Anybody else?
I
Oh, yeah.
okay, I have a question. There's rumors that the next generation Mustang is going to a more modern look as opposed to retro. Can you give any
The
clue
question
as
is,
to?
there's a rumor that the Mustang is going to go more modern than retro. Well, obviously, I'm sitting in product planning meetings. I think the success behind the Camaro is that it isn't a retro car. If you take a new Camaro and you put a piece of white silk on it, it doesn't look like a Camaro. When you pull it off to a 24-year-old that really isn't into Camaros, they see an amazing car. You know, I remember a lady at the tech center who was in IT, and we had the concept out shooting photos. She's talking to her cell phone. She goes, "Oh my God, Sylvia, I don't know what this car is, but it's sex on wheels, and I gotta have one." However, the people my age look at it and they see the cues from the '69 Camaro. Now, I have older guys saying, "Oh, you should have made it look more like the '69 Camaro." Well, first of all, I wouldn't want to repaint the Mona Lisa. Number two, it can't look exactly like the '69 Camaro because it won't meet any of our safety standards. And number three, we could make it just like the Challenger, like it looks like the old car, and sell 1/5 of the cars that the Camaro sells. So I don't know that retro is the way to go. I think that you have to pay homage to your past, and I think this car does that. For the people who say, "Oh, it's going to look just like a second gen," you know, we haven't even approved a 6th gen car, but I can guarantee you that we're looking at it, and there's lots of people drawing sketches, and there's lots of people doing 3rd scale models. I happened to be over visiting Tom Peters a couple weeks ago at Design Studio, looking at stuff, and I said to him, "Which one do you like?" He said, "None of them." That's exactly what I wanted to hear, because what he's really saying to him is, "Guys, it's too easy not to take a risk. I want you to take it over the edge." And that's exactly what we did with this car, and I think that's why it's still so well received. So, you know, by the way, I didn't finish the story. So Mom, of course, when we came out with the Camaro, the first night, September 29th, 1966, she got her first Camaro. When she had grandsons, she had to get stuff to move them around in. Mom is 87 years young. She was driving a 2002 Camaro, wouldn't give it up. It had all 26,000 miles on it. Now, we're from a small town north of Pittsburgh called Mars, just like the planet. My brother's the mayor, believe it or not. My mom is still friends with people she went to grade school with. Mom doesn't look 87. Her friend Doris looks every day of 87 and drives down the wrong way to the street. Aunt Marion thinks stop signs are optional. And Nixie drives down the sidewalk. So I'm a little nervous about her driving with them. So I said to her, "Mom, how about a nice STS?" And she goes, "What's that?" And I said, "It's a Cadillac." "Well, how many doors does it have on it?" I said, 4. She said, "That's an old lady's car, I won't buy it." So, Mom is driving an Inferno Orange Camaro RS ES. Her initials are ES, so she has a one-off. It helps to be the F-body father's mom. Again, it's been my honor to be here. I'm just like the rest of you. I just got lucky to work in the car. I thank you so much for your hospitality, for all the kind words, and I certainly look forward to seeing you at other shows. And thank you for keeping the faith. You could have told us to go pound sand, but you did. Thanks so much.
Okay, I don't want to keep you guys in here all night, because I've had a couple beers, but that's okay.